Hello.
Hi. We cut this music real quick. Welcome back.
Yeah.
All
Welcome
right.
back to this place, this podcast. We discuss romance.
Hell yeah, we do. All right. Sorry, I'm just adjusting the stream again. Okay, there we go. All right, well, this week we did A Touch of Darkness.
Yes,
Yeah, do you have the summary perchance?
I sure do.
Fantastic.
I am a good noodle.
That is literally the one summary that I forgot to get out of the 5 that we pulled. So
Yeah.
hell yeah, go for it.
Alrighty. So, Persephone is the goddess of spring by title only. The truth is, since she was a little girl, flowers have shriveled at her touch. After moving to New Athens, she hopes to lead an unassuming life disguised as a mortal journalist. Hades, god of the dead, has built a gambling empire in the mortal world, and his favorite bets are rumored to be impossible. After a chance encounter with Hades, Persephone finds herself in a contract with the god of the dead, and the terms are impossible. Persephone must create life in the underworld or lose her freedom forever. The bet does more than expose Persephone's failures as a goddess, however. As she struggles to sow the seeds of her freedom, love for the god of the dead grows, and it's forbidden.
Dun dun dun. So yeah, Persephone and Hades retelling. We have mixed opinions on this one, for sure. But yeah. Trigger warning for this one.
Yes.
We did. Hold on. My stream is okay, there we go. It's really far behind. I'll switch the slide and it takes forever. It's bizarre. Anyway. Yeah, so trigger warning. We have sexual assault, addiction, cheating, death of a spouse, and death of a child that are all mentioned within this book. Now, I will tell you, both of us are we have to look these trigger warnings up every time. So we may have missed something potentially, but we do check on the internet too to see what else everyone else has said as well. So yeah, if any of those things trigger you, maybe don't read it. But
Yeah.
So yeah. So as we said, this is a Persephone's and Hades retelling. So let's dive on into our characters.
Ooh, do you want to do hot takes or do you want to do characters?
You're right. Hot takes are first. Give me 1 second again. I am not sure why this is not updating. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So I actually have 2 hot takes this week, which I think I informed you of beforehand, but
yes. But do you want to give us your first?
Yes. So hot take number 1, numero uno. For gods, the sex wasn't that exciting. Where's the magic? There's no crazy magical sex. Nothing. No powers involved. Nothing. And I said that they're literal gods, and I shouldn't be leaving this book thinking that I'm more exciting in bed than a literal god. So, was a little bit disappointed. That's hot take number 1.
That's awesome. All right. My hot take. I'm switching over here.
Yep.
So, Mercedes and Mercedes. That's the ship name.
Yep.
For sure. Okay. Persephone and Hades should not be together.
Bro. Okay, listen. Hot take number 2.
All right.
Hot take number 2. Persephone is the worst, and I want to fight her for Hades' handed marriage. So very similar.
All right.
Similar hot takes for sure.
Similar.
That's hilarious.
All right.
All right, so now back to our little slideshow. We can dive on into the characters, and we will get into why Persephone kind of sucks
Yeah.
in a little bit. But she is described in the book. So all of the gods in this book, like it's very much a modern day, like just plopping down all the characters in there. Like all the gods have businesses that have to deal with like, the stereotypical things. Like Dionysus has like a line of wine and stuff like that. But all the gods are described as having horns in their divine form, which was interesting. So our lady Persephone here does have white horns. And she is described as having long blonde wavy hair, and her eyes in her defined form are like very, very, very like green. I think they said bottle green was the actual color. So very, very green.
Yes.
And she does use like a glamour whenever she's in the human world, to kind of disguise herself and like, make sure that no one knows that she's a goddess, which is interesting. And she basically just like tones down all of her features essentially. So she does look slightly different in her human form, but like not really. So
Yeah.
yeah, and she's sitting in this little field of narcissus flowers, which were mentioned so many times in this book, and I did not know that they're just daffodils. They're fucking daffodils.
That's fair.
And I was like really mad because the cover of the book, if we remember what that looks like, the cover of the book had a different flower
Scrolling
on
back.
it. Yeah. We can scroll back. Yeah. So, this right here, that's not a fucking daffodil. What the fuck is that? The fuck is
That's
that?
the edgy flower for the edgy book cover.
I guess they could have like used that flower as like the flower then. I don't know. Anyway. So yes, the narcissus is a specific type of daffodil that looks like that. It's the white ones with like the yellow on the inside, but
It looks like an egg.
it does kind of look like an egg.
Egg flower.
Egg flower, yeah. You're not wrong. But yeah, so this is our leading lady, I guess child. I don't. She's very
Leading
childish.
goddess?
Leading goddess. Leading
That hurts to
petty
say.
goddess. Yeah. Which,
I mean,
to be fair, she is like naive and she hasn't had powers before, so like she's just now. You know what I mean? There might be like a slight little learning curve there, like a slight little adjustment, I would say, but still.
we'll get into it.
Yeah. For sure. So next up, opposite to Persephone, of course, is Hades. And we have him here in his underworld, and the souls are reaching for him. It's a very dramatic picture, but also this is totally not Disney Hades. Totally not.
Oh, his face.
We couldn't resist this opportunity to Photoshop that massive chin onto this.
Onto this normal human body.
Yes, but for the purposes of this book, he was described as extremely attractive and like unbearably attractive. So this is not actually how he looks, but like close enough. Couldn't resist the good opportunity there.
He is, for those who would like to know what he looks like in the book, he's described as having shadowy obsidian colored eyes, inky black hair that he often has styled in different ways. It was pulled up into a bun when they first met, full lips, a strong jaw covered in dark stubble. He's very tall, over 6.5 feet, and he's dressed in all black usually. He has a very deep voice, and he's a smoky, spicy, wintry smell to him. like a car. I don't know. There was a lot of scents.
There was a lot of like smoke and ash and like all these different like spice scents to describe him. They also, I feel like, use that for a lot of the characters though. They like use different scents or whatever that were associated with them, which was kind of cool. Kind of appreciated that, low-key. I feel like that's the one sense that doesn't like get utilized too often, I would say. You know what I mean?
I I
In
would agree
writing.
with you, except I read way too much werewolf like fan fiction.
Okay, that's
So
fair. So they're just
they're
sniffing
just
all
like
over the place.
they smell like honeysuckle and cookies.
Fair enough.
Everybody has their
Hmm.
own scent.
Yeah. Fair enough. So yeah, here's our happy couple together in
Gorgeous
this little narcissus field. Also,
egg
the
flowers.
yeah, the underworld was described as having like lots of meadows that are just full of all the daffodils and stuff. So it's not like like as bleak necessarily as
Mm-hmm.
what things were described, because Hades does use his magic to like, you know, keep the flowers growing and stuff. So
Yes.
on the next slide though, getting into our scenery, I do have like a decent amount of the flowers that were listed. She eventually so her challenge is to create life in the underworld. So she's like, I'm gonna build a garden. Like as one does, I suppose. And she she decides that these are like all the flowers that she's going to use. So she names the narcissus, which are really daffodils, the aconite, which is also wolfsbane, that's what I knew it as, and then
Mm-hmm.
asphodels, which I had no idea what those looked like, and I really like them, honestly. They're kind of
Yeah,
cool.
they're cute.
Yeah. And then the polyantha are really nice too, which I didn't know what the name for those were either, but
Oh
they're
yeah.
they're also called fairy roses because they kind of look like roses, but they're not.
Yeah, I was like thinking I want to put my face in that bush, except I was like, it looks like a rose though, so it
Hmm.
probably has thorns.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they do or not, but they're super pretty. And so this was like the combination of flowers that she was going to use in the underworld for her garden. And I really like the color choices, honestly. Like, okay, all right.
Yes. Yeah, this would have been a lovely garden.
Well, yeah. Okay. So, yes, again, more daffodils. Literally, daffodils were mentioned so often, like the narcissus, whatever, they use that word, but they were just
Yeah.
such an integral part of this thing because it is like the symbol for Hades in this book. So, yeah. And then we have some art for more depictions of like the underworld. So, this is like on the river Styx with Karen, who is a uh demon type of thing, right? But like
Uh
escorts the souls.
yes. Hold on. I don't believe I wrote down exactly what he is. I believe they called him something, but
I think it was a
essentially
daimon. I think that's what
yeah, a
they said.
daimon.
Yeah. So, but he
Yeah,
like escorts
so
the souls that are down in there
just for funsies.
just for funsies. You know, that's his job.
Yeah, and he likes his employment. It's both soothing and satisfying to do.
Hell yeah. Okay, so real quick, this timer is going off. So I'm gonna disappear
Oh,
for just 2
yes.
seconds. Entertain the stream. I'm sorry, stream. I was baking bread and I forgot about it. Forgot to bake it before the stream, so it had to be done now.
All right, stream. I'm about to be
Entertain.
entertaining. Um, all right, I got nothing. I my
That's a
cat's
great
not
sign.
even
You're in
in
good
the
hands.
yeah. All right. Any? Let's see if we can talk about something. I'm very excited about this bread that is currently being made in the house. I am so sorry. It looks like we are having a few skips. The internet over here has been so bad recently. But hopefully everyone in chat can still hear everything okay. this is a personal enjoyment of mine. I guess one thing that I really appreciate about this book that Alyssa is not necessarily going to want to hear me talk about, so I'm going to talk about it now, is I played the Hades game a lot. And so this was very fun to see another take on. It's always fun to see different takes on myths. So very enjoyable to see different takes on what everything is going to look like when there's a lot of source material out there for you to pull from. Hello.
Hi. So sorry about that. I knew this was going to happen, but I didn't know at what point it would happen, so I have returned. So sorry. It's funny. All right, let me get these layers of things I have to have open in a certain order back up real quick. So that everything is projecting.
Is there a slide about the nightclub?
You know, I did not put a slide in there about the nightclub. You want to talk about that for a little?
Just talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Briefly. Hades owns several businesses, one of them being a nightclub called Nevernight, and it is in the shape of a tall, slender obsidian pyramid with no windows. And it's described as essentially towering over the city. And in a very similar fashion, later on, in how his palace towers over the Asphodel? Yeah. That one. Towers over the kingdom of the Underworld, basically.
Yeah. All right. Are you back on this slideshow?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next picture is not obviously a picture of, like, the actual river, whatever, but, you know, I thought it was a cool representation.
Yeah, of the river Styx.
Yeah. Just like of the people floating.
Yes.
Pretend that they're disembodied souls. Yep. And then they said that there was like giant mountains and stuff, and I also imagined that there would probably be lava, you know, it's the underworld. All that jazz. So, man, again, I don't know why this is not going as quickly as I need it to. I'm gonna have to have this open up front. So sorry. Okay. Are we ready to talk about our red flags for Persephone?
I am. I didn't know. Wow, we're getting into it quickly.
That's the order of the podcast, baby. We're in here.
All right. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
That's a great question. I actually think I have you up first. I did put the stuff in the slideshow again this week, so
that's fair.
Yes, you were up first.
Yes, I am. All right. Let's talk about this. I'm giving Persephone 5 out of 5 red flags. There are genuinely almost no positive traits to this person, in my opinion.
And she would smite you for saying that.
She would smite me for saying that. And I almost I don't care. F you.
Wow.
Yeah. Fight me, Persephone, as depicted in this book only.
That's fair.
Okay. So there are so many red flags here, and we'll probably also get into my hot take. Just these red flags all serve as proof for my hot take, quite honestly.
Okay.
Getting into this, Persephone has a hashtag not like other girls attitude. She hashtag not like other gods and goddesses. Mommy issues with a capital M. anger issues. She's
Mm-hmm.
insecure and jealous. She's stubborn and she is childish. I
Mm-hmm.
could go on and on forever, probably, just naming negative characteristics here. Getting into more evidence to back up these claims, one of the things that is a constant thorn in her side, Persephone's side throughout the entire book, is that Hades has a attractive female assistant,
Mm-hmm.
and she is so insecure and jealous every time she sees this assistant whose name is Minthri. They're like a nymph.
Mm-hmm.
Um, every time that person is seen, uh, she's upset. She thinks like that person just wants to be with Hades so bad, and Hades wants to be with her, even though Hades has shown no interest in his assistant whatsoever.
Literally none, and is like actively kissing Persephone in front of her and stuff like that, like to make a
Right?
point. Like, I'm sorry, you still are okay. All right, whatever.
Early on, there was a quote that made me gag. It was actually the scene that Minthi is introduced in.
Okay.
The quote says, "She was beautiful in a way." Persephone is thinking this. So she was beautiful in a way she wasn't, in a way that promised seduction.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, there's another scene where Minthri is in the room and she's going on about this woman again. She wore an electric blue dress that hugged her curves in ways that left little to the imagination, and Persephone was surprised by the shock of jealousy that ricocheted through her. She had thought that if she were, why can't I talk today? She had thought that if she were mistress of the underworld, Minthi would always wear turtlenecks and knock before she entered any room.
Yeah.
This is literally for the crime of showing up and being in the
Of existing
vicinity.
and being hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crime of being a sexy person.
Yeah. That's fair. I also rated her very high on the red flag scale, and I feel like you pretty much covered everything that I had put on there. I also have that there was like lots of miscommunications caused by her.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next slide and put my red flags up there. I put literally 7 of them because it's off the scales. Like, there's just so many red flags with her,
I agree.
which it's like, I feel kind of bad too, because in this book specifically, they really ran with the like overprotective mother like theory that
Mhm.
is prevalent with Persephone and her mother. But I feel like they way overdid it to the point of where like Demeter was abusive. Like, so I feel like a lot of the issues that Persephone has is because her mom like sheltered her away and was essentially abusing her for the whole time.
Yes.
So like, it sucks that she is that way, but she got to unlearn that somehow, because oh my gosh, the jealousy issues. There's just so much.
Yeah.
And of course, like, Hades as the god of the underworld has a reputation of like being a vengeful god and like, you know what I mean, like being a quote unquote bad god or whatever. And
Mhm.
it in this book, no, Persephone was for sure. It was way worse. Way worse.
Yes. She shows so many negative traits, and she doesn't actually show improvement in any of them
Yeah.
to my recollection.
No.
She
She gets
yeah,
worse at the end.
she gets worse because she gets
Yes,
powers,
she gets
and then
worse.
she just runs amok.
Yes, this is a spoiler alert, but she does turn Minthi into a fucking mint plant at the end. Like straight up is like, she like gets into an argument and then she's like being petty as fuck. And Minty was like, you're not even that powerful or something along those lines. And she was like, bitch bet. And fucking turns her into a goddamn mint plant, which was hilarious low-key with her name, Minty. Like, I thought that was kind of funny, but also not deserved at all.
And she's still a mint plant for like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
At least. I don't even think they turned her back in the book.
I don't know if they did. I don't think so.
They literally one of the sins for one of my red flags for Hades is, I'll just give it to you now. It's not that big, but
not turning her back.
They have sex.
Oh, okay.
They have sex right next to Minty, the mint plant, and it just feels wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
I assume that she's still sentient in there.
Oh, for sure.
Otherwise, that's not a torture.
Yeah.
That's like a nap.
Again, with the Persephone just has so many issues. It's like jealousy and then also like possessiveness and it was a lot. She also, not only does she, this was like a little bit more deserved, I guess, in my opinion, but she's still like, okay, so Adonis like witnesses Persephone turn Minty into a mint plant. So for backstory on Adonis, like if you don't know the Greek stuff or whatever, he is, at least in this book, I think too in actual Greek mythology, I'm not sure, he was like Aphrodite's lover or something like that. In this book he is. Anyway, so he is like a sleazeball in himself and is like just such a player, and he actually ends up sexually assaulting Persephone at one point, or like, yeah. So Hades like comes to the rescue or whatever with that. But so Adonis witnesses Minty get turned into a mint plant, and he's like, what the fuck? And then Persephone like turns his arms into tree limbs and then is like threatening him and is like going on this whole fucking monologue or whatever. And then she turns him back and is like, if you ever touch me again, you will be turned into a corpse lily. But she doesn't actually like turn him into a plant. So like my thing is, I feel like she would have way more reason to turn him into a plant than Minty. Like, yeah, Minty was a bitch, but she spoke nothing but fucking facts. Like, she was laying out some fucking truths that Persephone needed to hear, and she just did not like it. So she was like, nope, you're a little mint plant now.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I actually, as you were talking, was having that epiphany of, oh my god, she didn't punish Adonis, who did way worse things to her.
Exactly.
And she punished Minty so much harder because she's jealous and possessive. And Adonis is just like a guy that she doesn't like.
Right.
Even though he's done terrible things to her.
For sure. The only thing that I can say with that is that maybe because he did bring up that he has Aphrodite's favor, so like maybe that was a consideration of her not wanting to do that because Aphrodite would be pissed. But Hades is a more powerful god than Aphrodite, and she just doesn't give a fuck. She's like turning his assistant into a mint plant, like, which also was really weird to me that like Hades just didn't notice, or like, I mean, he obviously noticed that his assistant was missing, but like didn't say anything. Like, she had Minty on her kitchen counter for like a long time.
Yeah.
And then like eventually took it back to Hades and was like, hey, so this is this is your assistant.
Yeah, that's fair. Like 6 months he didn't care that Minty was gone.
Like, where the fuck did my assistant go? Like, what the hell?
Like, yeah, he didn't seem to have any others. It was Minty.
Yeah.
The assistant.
That's it. It was bizarre.
You didn't look for your assistant?
Yeah. How did you run your business still, sir? Because, like...
hired somebody else.
I guess. I mean, he did replace that one ogre very quickly. So...
that's fair.
I mean, he do be the god of the underworld. He can probably just reincarnate someone. Be my assistant. Thanks.
I'm sure there are plenty of people that are clamoring to be his assistant.
Oh, for sure.
Um, but after they find out that all attractive women around Hades get turned into plants, maybe not.
Maybe not. That's fair. I think
I
that was everything that I had listed. It was just a lot. I literally said she's a walking red flag and she needs therapy. So,
yes.
which part of that is
Yeah.
not her fault, and I feel kind of bad for that, but also that's not an excuse to turn people into plants. Stop that.
You needing therapy is not an excuse to turn people into plants
You can't just lash out at people for no
and
reason.
turn them into plants.
Yeah, that's as everyone wants to do and can do, totally.
Yeah,
As one does.
exactly. Yeah,
All right.
I'm
Well,
looking at hashtag justice for Menthy, everyone.
that okay, that was going to be my other hot take. I almost put that as one of my hot takes and then I just didn't. So technically
Yeah,
I had 3 hot takes.
that was my
So
original hot
many.
take.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
after overall, I said, you know what? This is more important.
Yeah.
Why are
That's
these
fair.
two people together?
What the fuck?
They do that is a toxic
Why
relationship
can't
if I ever
I
did see
rule?
one.
Why can't I rule the underworld?
I would be way more appreciative.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Well,
Although
what?
I was
Although
just gonna
what?
say Thanatos was there and I would be very tempted.
My Thanatos. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's fair. But no, Hades.
I'm
Hades was hey, I will get into this later, but I have so many good things to say about that. That god. That their god.
fair enough.
All right.
Okay.
Well, now that we have annihilated Persephone, should we say some nice things about her?
Sure, let's say some nice stuff about
All
her.
right, cool. I believe I'm first on this one. Oh no, you're first on this
Nope.
one. Okay, all right.
Me and my singular butterfly.
Yes, just the one. What you got?
Just the one. She is compassionate. She has a lot of compassion for the idea of mortal suffering. I don't know that she fully understands it, and so I'm not going to give her that. But the idea of it, she has a lot of compassion for. And she was occasionally a decent friend to her one friend. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that being said, one butterfly, that's it. After she goes to therapy, maybe more, but only we can only summon the one. And
That's
it's
fair.
very tiny.
And it's very tiny. That's fair. I should have I should have made that smaller for you. The tiniest butterfly.
Yeah, you've overestimated my
Your
affections.
one butterfly. All right, well, let's click on the next slide for mine. I have crickets.
Yeah.
I have no
Yep.
butterflies for this lass.
I forced myself to say one nice thing
Okay.
after I hated on
Yes.
her so hard.
I do agree. I do agree with you. And I maybe should have given her one. But there's just so many other things. And I feel like they just all cancel out because, like, to me, with that, she is compassionate. But, like, the second that someone would spite her, then the compassion is gone. And she doesn't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like, it just, I don't know. All of her issues are a culmination of a terrifying, like, I don't even know. Like, I wouldn't want a god with those qualities. That's scary.
Yes.
They're gonna be smiting so many people. There's gonna be so many plants. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I didn't give her any.
That's fair. I agree. I only did it to be nice.
Fair enough.
Give
You're a
you
better
get a
man
pity
than
butterfly.
Better man than I. Oh, that's funny. All right. Oh, I forgot to put the male wife scale in here, but you know the scale.
Yeah. I'm gonna make you guys remember it.
But yeah, first up, Persephone. And I think, oh yes, mine is first. So I said she's 50% gatekeep and 50% manipulate because she wants Hades all to herself at all times and cannot stand whenever there's any other person in the picture. And I said manipulate because she just literally wants her way at all times and will do whatever the fuck she wants to achieve that.
I agree with that.
I.e. turning someone into a mint plant.
I see.
Yeah.
Now,
So that was my rating.
I agree. That's a good rating. My rating, 100% in need of therapy.
It's good. It's good.
After therapy, I think Persephone is going to be a kind, caring, compassionate person. But until then, she has way too many issues, which they're justifiable. Her childhood was horrible, but
Yeah.
those being justifiable issues that she has doesn't mean that everyone else has to deal with them. Also, you are a god. I don't know. I'm holding you to a higher standard.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too, for sure. You should be held to a higher standard. You have higher powers. So, what the fuck? And again, that goes back to like every aspect of this book, I feel, including the sex scenes. I should not feel better than a god in bed. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
I agree. It was very cut and dry.
Like, I guess we can talk about this now. I have this in my additional thoughts section, but like,
that's fair.
The build-up to the sex scenes were very good. Like, I felt like the build-up and the tension between the two of them was fucking phenomenal. Like, it was really good. But then the actual scenes themselves was like, eh. Like, it was still, like, they were good. They were still, like, a spicy whatever. Spicy little scene, but...
They were over quick after the main event, I'll call it.
Yeah, for sure. I also would have liked to like have her have gotten her powers a little bit sooner and then maybe not just like use it for revenge. Like, you could do some fun stuff with some vines in the bedroom, you know? You can just Hades seems like he could be down to be dominated for a night, you know? He's giving off those vibes, so that would be just for a night, you know? Got a little switch action going on. But yeah. I don't know. I do think that the author did that well though, of like the building up the tension and stuff like that. And like the little moments were really good. Like the banter between them, or even whenever there's a few times that he kisses her, because that's the way that they bestowed their favor, the gods or whatever. So like she got access to the underworld or something like that, and he had to like give her a kiss for it. But that moment, like through her eyes, was like very, very like romanticized. I don't even know. Like, it was very, and I don't know if that was just because it was through her perspective, but it was very well written. I liked it. Oh, which also, this author does have other books that are from his perspective. I don't know if you know that. I know at the very end, it like, I think it gave the first 2 chapters, but there's essentially like another book that's just this entire retelling through Hades' eyes, which was cool.
I could not. I couldn't imagine suffering through this twice.
I know, but it made me kind of want to have read it from his perspective, because I didn't really care for Persephone that much. Like, I feel like I would have liked Persephone. Yeah, I feel like I would have liked Persephone a little bit more had I read it through his eyes. But that could have just been because, like, you know, as we say, the sun shines out of her ass to him. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have been lied to. Like, Hades would literally be lying to me. How can he? Because or he's worse. He's just point blank stating the facts of what she is doing, and he's still like, and I adore her.
And I adore it. Like, okay.
No.
Your bitch is crazy. She'd be crazy. She's spiteful. But
She
yeah,
needs therapy, not a boyfriend.
100% needs therapy. Oh, that's funny.
All right.
Next, we have red flags
Hades
for
red flags.
Hades.
Oh yeah.
Here's our man. I cannot. His just the juxtaposition between his staring eyes and the stance of his body, like I cannot. It's so funny. Anyway,
He's
I cracked
coming
myself
out of
up.
the woods.
If nothing else, this podcast is to make me laugh, to make myself laugh.
I like to just look at the slideshow.
So yeah, I'm up first on this one. I again had crickets because I literally nothing, and I don't know if that's just because he was written specifically for me, or I don't know, but zero red flags.
All right. Me. I gave him 3 red flags.
Yes, I'm interested.
Now, it's very simple. Hear me out.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I cannot forgive him for loving her.
Oh. Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
His woman is a walking red flag, and that makes him a walking red flag. But but he's so beautiful, and like I really enjoy him. I like so many things about him. He was actually very compassionate, understanding as a god, and you know, he takes very good care of his denizens and stuff like that. But all of that being said, his wife is a horrid person, and I cannot forgive him for that.
That's okay. All right. When I was putting this in on the slideshow, I was like, what could he possibly have found in this book? I was like, what did I miss? There are 3 red flags?
We spent too much time in Persephone's brain just listening to her be horrible.
That's fair.
He didn't have that much screen time to be terrible. Even the things Persephone thought he did that were bad were then explained to not be bad, although she still remained mad at him for those things. Because that makes sense. Like I said, she needs therapy.
She has trust issues and abandonment issues and jealousy issues, and like the list is so long. Oh man. So yeah, none of us really had a ton of red flags. Our viewer that answered as well did not. So you know,
yes,
it's pretty accurate, I guess.
They said that he's a little honey, but kind of horny from the get-go. but his gentle heart makes up for that,
which is fair. That's a good analysis. It's good analysis. I put in my notes that perhaps I'm a little dick-dumb, but I have 0 red flags. So again, to use that phrase. All right, should we talk about the good things? Because there are many.
Let's hear it.
I'm very excited. Here's our man's again strolling in.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I gave him, again, I always do this. I rate things off the scale because why the fuck not? But I said infinite butterflies.
Oh, infinite
butterflies. Literally at every turn. Like anything that was to do with him and like getting to see behind the scenes, like just perfect. I said that he is tall, dark, and handsome. He's mysterious. His banter is killer. The kisses of favor are hot as fuck, even though they're not supposed to be necessarily, but like, oh my gosh. Like, I said that he, that passion is just kind of like a built-in character trait, like along with his charm. Like, he's just so passionate. And she even like comments at one point, because he like had said something about like not believing in love or something like that, or something along those lines, and she was like, well, how can you not but be so passionate? And he was like, love doesn't require, or passion doesn't require love, darling, or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's like an innate quality of his, which is wild. The fact that he uses darling as a pet name, I don't know why that gets me, but like
100%.
it gets me so bad. I'm like, yes, please, thank you. Use that name for me. It's like one of my faves. What else did I say? Oh, I said that he gives off Saw-like vibes because he is making the bets with the mortal souls or whatever, but it's in order to better their lives. Like they either
Yeah.
overcome their addiction or they die, which is very Saw-esque, but like not in a very gruesome, gory way that Saw is.
That's fair. Yeah.
And then I said that he cares about humans, even though his reputation says otherwise. And he like keeps it a secret too. He like tries to keep up the facade of, you know, being a scary god, but he's a little softy. He's a little soft little nugget underneath there. And then the last thing I said that he is extremely chivalrous. At one point in the book, he punishes an employee of his because they hurt Persephone, and it was like a bouncer at the door or whatever, and he like wasn't letting her in, but he didn't know that she was a goddess, and then like her goddess form was revealed and all this stuff. And so the ogre was like, I didn't know she was a goddess, I'm really sorry, please don't punish me, blah blah blah. And he says that it's not because she was a goddess, but solely because she was a woman, and no man should mistreat a lady like that, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, damn, son, okay. You chivalrous and you're the god of the underworld? That's so cool. It's so cool. So yeah, infinite butterflies from me. I feel like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's sad for me because is this my standard dating a god? Sorry guys, I don't know.
I mean, most of those standards are meetable by people.
That's fair. But yeah, it
Wasn't like you were like, oh yeah, and he shapeshifts into a horse, and that like really did it for me. Because then
that's fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, infinite butterflies from him. Every turn, I was just like, oh my god, I want Hades so bad. All right, on to you.
I gave Hades 4 butterflies. And again, he really deserved 5 butterflies, but I'm still upset with him for loving this horrid person.
Okay, that's fair.
Tall, dark, and handsome. You hit that. Darling. The amount of times darling was said.
Also, the voice
really
actress
like that one.
did pretty well. I've got to say, she was doing all the voices herself, and the voice she did for Hades, pretty good. Would have liked to maybe, you know, have a male actor just because it would have been hotter, but you know, it was fine. It was good.
That's fair. She was fighting for her life at some points. There were. I know you have to listen to the audiobook, the specific audiobook that we listened to get this experience. But sometimes there were too many voices. That's fair. You know, those scenes.
Yeah, that's fair.
I also really liked this quote. I see to the soul what burdens it, what corrupts it, what destroys it, and challenge it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Persephone thinks, but what do you see when you look at me? That's free therapy, baby. And I'm here for it. You could just make me be a better person because you could tell me what's wrong with me.
But she doesn't believe him, though, when he says things.
Okay, that's her problem. I'm not her.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how is she ever going to improve?
These are my green butterflies.
Okay, that's fair.
I would improve from his free therapy.
Okay. Fair enough.
Also, he likes whiskey. We can be drinking buddies.
Oh my gosh, yes. I didn't even put that, but hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. We're all sitting around swirling cups.
Oh, for sure.
Dramatically.
While in the nude.
And, yeah. Yep. Again, those are, and then again, I also had put that he's a defender of women.
Yeah.
He multiple times made that point
Yeah.
that, he cared about women and their safety. When Persephone is sexually assaulted, she feels the need to apologize
Mm-hmm.
at one point, and he makes it a point to assure her that it's not her fault.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very that whenever he like rescued her for that, like he reacted just perfectly. Like I don't he was so understanding and like yeah, just like reassuring.
Yes.
This is such a random point and I didn't put these down, but because I don't know if that's how it was in this book, but also he liked the thick girls. he
Oh,
he
that's fair.
does say that she's like curvy or whatever, and I don't know if they were following like the actual like Olympian lore or whatever, but Persephone is like I think like 5'10" or something like that and like 380-ish. So she a big girl. He liked the big
Oh,
girls.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I was like, hell yeah. So
Hell
not
yeah.
only would I want you, you already attracted to that type, you know?
That's fair.
But I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Again, I
mean-
don't know if they like had that in this thing or whatever. In
That's
this
fair.
universe, or if her glamour like somehow made her thinner to be more acceptable to beauty standards. Dumb. Dumb. But yeah.
Hades, overall, an amazing fella.
Hell yeah.
The only thing that taints him is who he chooses to keep in his company.
I love that that's your like only flaw for him because I'm still like dismissing that. I'm like, okay, well, he has no flaws.
I don't know what it is. It really gets my goat.
That's fair. That's fair.
When I don't like when people hang out with other reprehensible people.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, let's go to our male wife manipulate, mansplain, girl boss, gaslight, and gatekeep scale. I always forget it. That's why we need this slide. Like, what are
It's
words?
a mouthful.
What are words? All right.
All right.
We have
walking
Hades. You're up
here.
first, I believe.
Okay. For me, 75% girl boss and 25% manipulate.
Hell yeah. And I
And
said
for you,
100% chef's kiss. 100% made for me.
That's great.
You had a funny one on the last one, so I was like, I'm gonna put a funny one in too. Do you care to explain why he's a girl boss? That's what I would have rated him as too, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he has several like clubs. He's a king. He is very take charge, do his business type girl boss. And then manipulate. Unfortunately, I also feel like that's fair. Look, the contract thing is a great tool to help people, but it is ultimately a manipulative tactic.
Yeah, especially when you're not giving the terms beforehand. He makes these deals and then he gets to come up with the terms after he wins. So, yeah.
I don't know why
That's
anyone
fair.
would agree to that, but I feel like there was something
I don't know either.
lacking where I don't live in a world where gods just live among us.
Yeah.
And so I'm not comfortable with some stuff happening, and then everyone else is like, yeah, I'm just gonna go make a deal with Hades.
Yeah. That's fair. It probably, yeah,
Like a
that's fair. It
fine
would probably be a lot,
Tuesday.
it probably would be a lot different. And also, like, people are just desperate in general, so I feel like I could see it happening. I feel like
Yeah.
it's clearly a stupid decision, and I don't know why people would do it, but I get it, I guess. Just when you're that desperate,
You
I don't
do
know.
you.
Yeah. You do you, and I will be over here not making deals with Hades, but
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, I believe additional scenes are up next. I think
Yeah.
we've covered a few of mine already. Do you have anything that you would like to mention?
Yes. Just this one's very small, but there is a scene where Hades employs ogres and other kind of undesirable monsters, we'll call them. The
Yeah.
ones that are scary and big and generally associated with violence.
Yes.
I found it very cute though when the ogres were working at the club and they're doing like purse checks. I just they met the image of big like
Of a
ogre
giant.
figures in like a clutch. Like one
Oh my
finger
god.
is in there
No,
fishing around.
it would be like, Lizzo's little bags that she has all the time. It'd
Yeah.
be like that. That's so
Exactly.
great. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. One little
In
finger
general,
just
yeah, in general, I felt like little things like that the author did very well.
Yeah.
There were scenes like that, and they're set pieces, like, every room that you went into
Mm-hmm.
was beautiful. There was a lot of detail and work done there.
Yeah.
And I don't want to discount that just because I really didn't like the protagonist.
That's fair. Yeah. I do agree. I liked the juxtaposition of like real world versus like the Olympus stuff and just how they incorporated it. They did still have like the trials and stuff like that, like the Olympics type of thing.
Mhm.
And a few other things. And I really liked how they gave like all the different gods like different businesses and stuff too, because obviously like if you're going to be amongst mortals, that's probably what they would do nowadays, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it was Aphrodite that had like the couture dresses, and then Dionysus had the wine. I forget what some of the other ones were, but they listed quite a few.
They all had multiple jobs, it
Yeah.
seemed like, too, because
Mm-hmm.
several of them had clubs as well.
Yeah.
And I don't, yeah, I mean, they really enjoyed the nightclub scene, apparently, because they
Yeah.
were all in it. But
I
Greek
mean,
gods love
they
partying.
be
We can't
partying.
deny
They
that.
be
They'd be
partying.
partying.
But I
I'm so
also
sad Dionysus wasn't around.
Yeah, me too. I knew you were gonna be, because I like when they mentioned him first, you had not started the book right as soon as I did, but you had said, I'm wondering if they'll mention like other gods, and you had like mentioned Ares or whatever. And which he was mentioned, by the way. I don't know if you caught that,
Mhm.
then I laughed. But it was really funny because I was like, I know like one of your favorite gods is Dionysus, and they mentioned him like off the bat, and I was like trying not to give it away. But I was like, you're gonna be so excited. But yeah,
Yeah.
I did wish that they would show him a little bit more. But like there are more books, so I don't know now that she's like a journalist or whatever, like maybe
Yeah.
there will be more interaction with the other gods too, because she'll probably write stories on them, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. The other thing I really liked was that, like, same thing with the juxtaposition of those two worlds or whatever. Sorry, excuse me. They made oracles like essentially be social media managers.
Yeah.
Which was kind of funny, but I was like, okay, I can kind of see that, because like oracles, were like assistants to the gods and like messengers between the gods and
Mhm.
people back in, the Greek god times or whatever. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice, but I was like, okay, that kind of fits. All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that. Let's see, what else do we have on here? I think I only have two things left. The first one's a minor point. I did not like, this is one of the things I didn't like about the juxtaposition. They made Cerberus into 3 normal dogs.
I kept
I
waiting
was
for
so
him to like
mad.
turn into 3 dogs. Like I just was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's split for a little bit, but no,
He was just, there were
they even
3.
introduced him
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
way that he could have been one dog.
Yeah, but no. I was really disappointed. And I'm like, Like, Hades is still a god. There are still mythical creatures. There's a fucking ogre as a doorman. Like, why could there not be a 3-headed dog? A 3-headed giant dog in the underworld? Like, I don't know why that was the thing that they were like, nope.
Unrealistic.
Too unrealistic. Throw that out the window. Yeah. So that kind of annoyed me. I don't know why that, like, got me. I was, like, very mad about it for a very long time.
It's because Persephone was too judgy, and she definitely would have been like, no, you're evil, you have a 3-headed dog. Because that was how flimsy it felt some of her excuses were.
Yeah, that's fair. Which is,
there were people in her face telling her that Hades didn't do the things that she thought he did. And like, they had worked with him for hundreds of years and he was a great guy.
Yeah.
And she was like, no. Evil. Because my evil mother, who I don't even like, told me so.
Yeah. Narcissistic abuse. That, I guess that does segue into my last one, though, pretty well. That's what I wanted to talk about last, was Demeter.
Oh, yeah.
So, I said this earlier, that their depiction of Demeter, I did not like. Now, I understand that there are conflicting theories in this actual, like, the actual story between Persephone and Hades. And one theory is that Demeter was, like, too protective or whatever, and was, like, trying to keep Persephone, you know, for her own or whatever. But I feel like it was just such an extreme. Like, she literally was stalking Persephone for the majority of the book. And just would, like, show up out of nowhere in the middle of Persephone's room or whatever, like, hello. And at one point, she also, I didn't pull this quote, but it was a quote along the lines of, like, I can't stalk you. I'm your mother. Like, she flat out says that. I think she usually calls her, like, my flower or something. So it was like, I can't stalk you, my flower. I'm your mother. I was like,
that was so creepy.
Yeah. It hit a little close to home.
I didn't want to say it.
I know, but it's okay. It's fine. I won't go into details, but my mother has definitely done some things along those lines. Whenever I'm a literal adult, she has shown up at my work, stuff like that. So I get it. That's why I'm like, I kind of feel bad for Persephone, because there are issues that were not her fault that she has. But yeah, she does need to go to therapy about that for sure. So yeah. But yeah, this book definitely did hit home, and I was like, wow. I feel like it was also like a little reflection of like, you've come so far. Good job, Alyssa. Like, pat on the back. You've come so far. So yeah, felt a little therapy-ish at times, but
yeah. That kind of segues to my last additional thought.
Okay, look at us, professional podcast hosts.
I know.
We're so good at this.
Without trying.
I know.
I really struggled to romanticize the people in this book, because I find their existence horrifying. People with the power to wipe you off the face of the earth and not be punished for it should have their shit more together than I do.
Yes.
Like, they don't. I'm too stressed out by their immense power and their immense pettiness to find any of their romantic tension tantalizing or anything like that. It's not satisfying to me to see these literal children with superpowers falling in love.
That's interesting. That's fair. I think that too could lead to an interesting discussion about like the depiction of gods in Greek mythology versus the depiction of like the Christian god or like Abrahamic god or whatever, because like people just don't view, I feel like people are more how do I want to say this? Like the Greek gods are seen as both good and bad, whereas in Christianity people uphold God as like ultimately every decision he makes is good, every whatever, like everything he does is for a good reason, and he's like the best and whatever. But I feel like Greek gods are more, I don't know how to say it, like more humanized almost, because they do experience those negative emotions and stuff like that. And I think that's an interesting like, I guess, comment on the difference between the two and like how we view gods now.
I definitely was having those thoughts myself, wondering if I was being too hard on them throughout the book, and I kept thinking to myself, they are allowed to have human emotions. That is the point of the Greek gods. Like, they did experience both. They had negatives and positives.
Right. But it still doesn't give them a right to be hurting people, ultimately.
Yeah, ultimately, it is still wrong,
Yeah.
the things that were done,
Right.
even if they are a god.
Yeah.
And that the fact that there's no way to hold them to any sort of standard.
Yeah.
The fact that multiple times throughout the book, people would be acting entitled, and then it'd be, oh, you have the favor of this god. Oh, you are a goddess or a god. It's fine now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, there's definitely like a layer of just fear that's in there for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting comment. Do you have anything else?
Yes, I did have one other thing. It's very tiny.
Okay.
Just that a good example of, last week we had a book with an older gentleman and a older dragon. The dragon was several hundreds of years old, but the person he ends up dating was, I believe, between 40 and 50. So this week, it did the thing that I said was weird last week, which is Hades is a timeless person who's been alive. I believe it was millennia, might have been just been centuries. But now he's fated to be with Persephone, who is a 20-something that acts like a 16-year-old. And it's still just hard to believe that he finds any of her actions charming, because they're the actions of a child.
That's fair. Did they actually say how old she was in there?
They might have.
They had said that she was still like fairly old.
I thought that they had mentioned that she was not that old. I could be off base there, but I thought they had mentioned that she was in her 20s.
I think there was something though about her remembering like one of the events or something though. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong too. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, if that is the case, then yeah, for sure. And I agree that like even though she's, regardless of how old she is, she does act like she's a child. So yeah, that's fair.
Yes. Honestly, if she's older, a million more red flags. What the fuck?
That's also fair.
You couldn't have just reflected on yourself a bit? I know you were trapped in your mother's abusive place.
Yeah.
But I think there was some self-reflection that could have been done.
Yeah.
Even in those places.
Yeah, that's fair. Which, I mean, this could be the start of her self-reflecting journey now that she is like going to college and is out of the house and stuff like that. So who knows? Who knows?
And I won't know.
I was like, are you gonna read the next books to find out?
Reading it.
That's fair. I haven't decided if I will or not yet, but it definitely won't be for a while if I do. So, because we got other books to read.
Yeah.
So,
which we can talk about.
Oh, is that next?
Maybe.
Dang, we're so good at these transitions. I cannot. Nope. Oh, overall rating. Shoot, we failed.
But close.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
The hype train.
End forever. End the podcast. Yes. Okay, so overall rating of the book. I gave it 4.5 Narcissus
Ooh.
flowers out of 5.
Egg.
I really, really liked it, even though I did not care for Persephone and her actions. I did understand her backstory and all that jazz playing into it and yada yada. But I really freaking loved Hades. Like a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyone out there identify as Hades, hit me up. What's up?
That's great. All right. And my rating, a 2.
Yeah.
Therapy, I didn't want to get, I'm not going to give it a 1, but there were some redeemable things in there. The author is not a bad writer.
Yeah.
The person that the author wrote is intolerable. And I spent the entire book in their head, and I just wanted to scream.
But listen, they did go with the dynamic of Demeter being abusive and whatever. So I feel like for that reason, she captured it well.
Yeah.
What can happen? So
it very much, if the book was twice as long and Persephone lost everything at the point that she got her powers, and then like maybe worked up to it and then like apologized and a bunch of others growing
held
happened.
Accountable in any fucking way for her actions.
Yeah, by
that's fair.
anyone.
By anyone, literally anyone. No, but
besides Minty,
I was gonna say the one that tried is now a plant.
Yeah.
Justice for Minty, everyone.
No one else will be talking sense into me. I turn them into plants.
I turn them into fucking plants. But yeah, all right. That's understandable. 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. So next week we did change books. We had said we were doing a pirate book, but we are not.
The liars.
Yeah.
Like pirates.
So we decided to pick kind of shorter ones. But so we're doing 2 books for next week. They're both pretty short. The audiobooks were like 3 hours each or something like that. So we decided to lump them together so that we would have enough to talk about. But we're doing 1 for the money and 2 for the dough. Yeah. Now, this is a movie as well. 1 for the Money was turned into a movie in 94, which neither of us were alive for at the time. And yeah, like the name kind of sounded familiar, and I was like, in the back of my mind, I thought maybe that was a movie or something. And then I did look up the book title or the cover and saw that it was a movie too. So maybe we'll have to watch the movie then.
Yeah.
If we like it. But I do have the summary for that. So let me pull that up.
Oh, yes.
So, okay, this summary is wild. Like, I read it earlier and I was like, I'm sorry, what? There's just so much going on. So bear with me while I read this.
And keep in mind, while they read this, this is a 3-hour audiobook.
Yes. So I don't know how they're fitting all of this into here. And also, I'm just reading the summary for the first book. Because the second one is just a continuation of whatever. So, okay. Meet Stephanie Plum, a bounty hunter with attitude. In Stephanie's opinion, toxic waste, rabid drivers, armed schizophrenics, August heat, humidity, and hydrocarbons are all part of the great adventure of living in Jersey. She's a product of the Burg, a blue-collar pocket of Trenton where houses are attached and narrow, cars are American, windows are clean, and dinner is served at 6. God forbid you should be late. Out of work and out of money, Stephanie blackmails her bail bondsman cousin Vinny into giving her a try as an apprehension agent, which, of course, his name is Vinny. If you're from Jersey, why not? Cousin Vinny, why not?
Your name is Vinny. I'm pretty sure everyone from Vinny is named. Everyone from Vinny. Sorry. Yeah, no, it's actually called New Vinny.
Yeah.
Didn't you know?
Yep. I missed the memo. You're right.
Yeah. Sorry.
So
we voted on it last week.
Stephanie knows zilch about the job requirements, but figures her new pal, El Primo bounty hunter Ranger, can teach her what it takes to catch a crook. Her first assignment is to nail Joe Morelli, a former vice cop on the run for a murder one charge. Morelli happens to be the inamorado who charmed Stephanie out of her virginity at age 16. There's still powerful chemistry between them, so the chase should be interesting and could also be extremely dangerous. Now, I don't know how the fuck they fit that all into a 3-hour book. Very, very short book, but
We're gonna find out.
I guess we'll find out.
And we're gonna tell you about it.
Yeah, tune in next week to figure it out.
Yeah, we were going through these books earlier, and Alyssa was just reading this summary to me, and they just kept reading, and I was like, more?
Yeah, literally, you were like, wait, is this the same book? And I was like, yeah. Just keeps getting better. Yeah, so it was a lot. We also have, since it is the end of August now, next week, we do have our September books.
Yes.
All picked out and ready to go. And I do have summaries for those, so I'll read them again for everyone. First up here on the left, we have Highland Mist. Are you good?
Yes, I'm sorry.
You're right. I was like, do I need to wait? What's happening? Okay, so this little snippet says, I believe this is a quote from the book. It says, 1 prophecy to save the world, 2 realms fighting for control, 3 druid sisters who hold the key to salvation in the hearts of men who would love them. Okay, now is his name Laird? Is that how you pronounce it? Should have looked that up, maybe. Okay. Laird Connell McInnes was born into a clan that for centuries has been charged with the guarding of the sacred druids. 'Tis a duty he has always met with a willing heart until the day his sister, a druid priestess, goes missing. And the very druids he has protected refuse to help him find the last remaining member of his family. Then a 300-year-old prophecy places a druid priestess in his hands for safekeeping. 'Tis the chance at revenge that he's been waiting for, but he is willing to pay. Oh, but is he willing to pay the price his revenge will demand? The loss of his mate and the future of Scotland. Bum bum bum.
Bum bum bum.
So that one will be interesting. And then on the 10th, we have 3 reasons to say yes. Do you want me to keep reading these? Let me know if you are dying to read one. I know that you don't normally like to read them, but if you,
I
are
just don't have them. So
okay, that works too. 3 reasons to say yes. So this one, I believe this is the lesbian one.
Yes.
Okay. So 3 reasons to say yes. When a little rest and relaxation turns into something more. Julia McGuire can't wait to spend 2 weeks in Hawaii with her best friends. She's been dreaming about this trip for years, and all she wants is to lay on a sandy beach with an icy cocktail in her hand. But the vacation goals change the moment she meets Reed Baxter. Reed is a busy doctor with family demands. She's in Hawaii to let go, not to find love, and she's not interested in any commitment. Adding a little heat to the vacation seems like a good idea as long as there aren't expectations for anything more.
Oh, yes.
Bum, bum, bum. That wasn't as like scary dramatic, but
yeah. We're excited. You gotta mix them.
Yeah, mix them up. Mix them up.
All the genres.
For sure. The next one is The Countess. So sorry.
I know, I'm really working your throat. Phrasing.
Nice. That's a soundbite. Every week we get one. Oh, it's gonna be great. Okay. The fairy tale courtship did not turn into a happily ever after. Not until her husband dropped dead, that is. He had been horrible enough to Christiana, sorry, during their short marriage, and she was not going to allow the traditional period of mourning to ruin her sister's debuts as well. So she decides to put him on ice and go on as if nothing happened. Until the real Earl appears. Richard Fairgrave had every intention of confronting his villainous twin, who had robbed him of his name and title, only to discover that he had died. Quietly assuming his identity, Richard must now deal with a maddening desire for his ravishing inherited wife. Certainly a gold digger and possibly a murderess. And Christiana must deal with an unwanted new husband, and they both must figure out what to do before the ice melts.
Oh my gosh.
Also, that was the first time I had read that summary. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, in depth. I read the first part of it earlier, but wow. Intrigued.
I used to read a lot of this author, so we'll see if you like them.
That's fair. Oh, is that okay? Fair enough.
They also have a vampire series that I
All right. I know you had
read
said
a
you
lot
were
of.
going to start throwing in some of your past favorite authors and stuff like that just to see my
Yeah.
reaction. So I'm very excited for that.
I have not read this book, but this author, this is like the first book in their series with this group of people.
Hell yeah. Okay, the next one is called The Red.
I'm obsessed with this cover. I don't know.
Too.
It's
I don't know
very
why it was
pretty.
really speaking to me. Yeah, I agree. It's very, very, it's very tasteful.
Kind of reminds me of someone.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. You gonna leave it at that? Leave it a mystery?
Yeah.
It's a secret for only Adrian to know. So, okay. I can't with her name. The name of the main character is just...
Oh, yes.
Her mom has an art gallery, so keep that in mind when I read this very first sentence to you. Mona Lisa St. James made a deathbed promise that she would do anything to save her mother's art gallery. Of course she's fucking named Mona Lisa. Ridiculous. Unfortunately, not only is the red painted red, but it's in the red. Just as she realizes she has no choice but to sell it, a mysterious man comes in after closing and makes her an offer. He will save the red if she agrees to submit to him for a period of 1 year. The man is handsome, English, and terribly tempting, but surely her mother didn't mean for Mona to sell herself to a stranger. Then again, she did promise to do anything to save the red. Now, this book I found on the TikTok, on the Clock app, and the person that recommended it was saying that it's really, really spicy, and that there's quite a few themes in there that I'm very into. So we shall see. I'm very intrigued by this. This is gonna be like a dom sub situation, and I'm about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for all of the books in September, honestly.
I am too. And yeah, I'm proud of us. Good job, us. We were kind of scrambling there at the end to find some, but
yeah,
we did
I'm
find a
always
bunch.
concerned that there aren't going to be books.
Yeah.
like it's not a giant,
like it's not a continuous thing.
Yeah, people just stop writing books that I would like, probably. That
Totally.
was the concern here.
But yeah. All right. Next, I think we just have plugs, right? We just have the plugs to do, and then I also have an art credit slide at the end. Your plugs are up first. Go ahead, baby.
I'm plugging myself. What's up? My name's Adrian. You can watch me here at twitch.tv/AdrianGames. Linktree, adriandrawful for my other links. adriandrawful on Twitter. I talk about anime and how I like... You know what? You have to look. Sorry about that.
You have to look. The mystery continues.
Yep.
All right, and I'm your other host, Alyssa. You can find me linktree/Nibiru31 at alyssakissaxx on Twitter, and here, of course, at twitch.tv/Nibiru31, 18 plus only, as always. We are not here to entertain your children. We are not for
18
you.
plus over here as well.
But yeah. And then we will click through this art slideshow, but that's all we have for you guys. Got some art creds for things I used to Photoshop.
Thanks for that. Letting us...
shout out to everyone here or everyone on that site that not here, I guess. Oh my gosh, if this would freaking load. There we go. Cool.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's the end of our show. Do you have any viewer comments or anything in your chat? I don't think I had anyone in my chat, but
someone named Hype Mangoes said mango.
Oh, mango, back at ya.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We will hopefully see you guys next week.
Yes, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I freaking love this podcast. So thanks for watching.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.